What's up, summoners? King Blair here. Today we're going to be doing a full equipment guide, starting with the very basics, moving up to more complex stuff, and then just overall what you consider good gear, how you should be enhancing your gear, what things you should be looking for, and things that you really need to move forward to help you progress in the game faster. And I'll show you examples with some of my units and everything. So if you like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and join the Discord link. Especially the subscribe, because I'm going to be dropping like full K-Ron guide with counters and everything this Sunday or latest Monday. You know, I'm going to give myself that extra day just in case something goes wrong during editing. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So gear, how this video will roll out. First, I'm going to be talking bare basics that you need to know, like starting from the very ground up. Then we'll move up from just talking about the basics, like what is gear overall, what you should be doing, to reforging and kind of how that has changed how people gear and just gear overall, which is one of the reasons why a lot of gear guides have been outdated, is because of that reforging step. And then I'm going to show you guys some of my units that I have geared, some key points, some of the things that I use when I was gearing those units, some of the concepts I use, and just overall everything to help you. The one PSA I will say, I said it the same thing in the building hero guides, but your best friend, especially for early game players, is going to be that event equipment. Event equipment is your ticket to getting super high everywhere. If you have a Vildred and you can get this thing to roll better than me, like look at this chest. It's an event. This gift is out for free. If you put this on a Vildred as a like day one player, think about it. If this rolls for you, let's say you're like week 11, by week 4, you should easily be able to do all of the hunts just from event equipment. What I mean by event equipment, the one that they just give out for free, Abyss, the one that you get at the beginning of the game when you're just playing the game and they just give it to you for completing quests, and one of the big ones that a lot of people kind of sleep on, the Ottoman Tower equipment, also really, really solid, especially for early game players. Yes, this equipment will get phased out later on, and we'll talk about that later in the video. But this is just the biggest thing I want to tell everyone is use your event equipment, especially early game. Don't waste your time trying to get like trashy equips when you already have some of the best equipment in this game. Like equipment should not be your problem when you're starting off the game. You already have amazing sets. You already have so many good things. Just focus down on building a Wyvern team and you're set. You're set for the rest of the game. I've known people that in 3 months they were able to get to Challenger. And they're just beginners. Why? Because they used the event gear, they made a Wyvern team, and they were able to clear everything. And they progress so much faster. And there's still people that are stuck in Masters and have been playing for months, and it's because they haven't focused on their Wyvern team yet. They haven't had a chance to farm it. Maybe they just got unlucky. I can't judge you guys because I know some people get very unlucky, don't get the pulls, don't get the molas. But yeah, just use your event equips. So I feel like I talked about for enough. Let's start with the actual guide. So we're going to use a little bit of reference from this. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I tried making this video just using this and I didn't like how it turned out. So I'm just going to go over key points for this because this site is a really good site for beginners if you just want to learn more about the game, but it is outdated. Epic 7 Wiki has definitely been, it's a little bit more on the outdated side. It doesn't include Reforged. I still think it includes stuff with the tier of equipment where like it's like level 85 and you have tiers. Tiers are gone, y'all. It's just level. They made it a little bit more simpler. Before there was like tier and there was level and it was really confusing, and they still have this here, but it's still a really good place to kind of read up on gear. Like it shows you the basics, like what is gear. If you're starting off the game, this is amazing. The subsets you should get, one of the big ones is the armor. That's the only thing I want to point out for this graphic. Armored can't get attack or attack percentage, and the weapon can't get defense or defense percentages. These are usually the two equips, like the armor and the weapon, that you want to maximize your other stats. So for example, if you're building a damage dealer for your armor, this is where you want to get all your crit rate, all your crit damage, or all your speed. That is the one place you want to focus all your efforts to try to get those stats to round out your character. And I'll show you some of my units, and y'all will see the left side is usually where I try to maximize substats. The right side, it's a little bit trickier with the right side because that's where you get the different percentage stuff. And y'all, that is it. You use that to roll with it because sometimes you don't get the main stat, but you get the substats. The other thing is that there are characters that benefit from flat attack on the right side. Like you'll see, you can get flat attack, flat HP. Most notable units that use flat pieces are going to be DJ Bassar and Blaze Dingo. Both of them do benefit from that. There's a whole Excel sheet that shows what hero you should be using flat stats on. I highly recommend y'all look it up. Just type Epic 7 on Google or anywhere, and it's a Reddit site, but basically just type Epic 7 characters flat stats and it'll show up. Just go through the sheet and you'll be able to find your character and kind of see if flat stat is for that character. But all right, the other stuff, see, that's what I told you with the tiers, that doesn't exist anymore, so that's why I'm like, this also kind of outdated. I just wanted to show you guys in case you do use this. It's good to show because it does tell you something about the game. The only key takeaway from gear I want to give you guys from this is that blue gear is still really, really good in the game. So it's definitely something that if you have, it's okay to have blue gear, especially if they have good substats. They kind of say that because the way it works out, you're always able to get in either one of those two stats. So there's a higher chance that you will roll into that stat. So it's always nice to have blue gear, and I'll show you one of my really good units that actually still has blue gear. But the other thing is Hoochie. I showed you guys Hoochie and then the Goblin. So yeah, you guys can go through these. You can kind of see the different main stats. But let's talk, now that we've kind of covered the very basics, you guys kind of saw the graphics, the stuff you can see in there. Let's look at an actual piece of gear and kind of break it down for you guys, what you guys are seeing. So let's go with the event one. So let me go with one that hasn't been rolled on. So for example, for this one, biggest thing is that whenever you get a piece of gear, there is a lot of RNG attached to that piece of gear, a lot. So the first RNG comes from what the starting stat is. So if you guys see this, speed stat 4 is not the highest, but it is like 99% of the time is the stat that you will start with, is speed at 4. It can go to 5 for level 85 gear, but I've only seen one of my gears ever roll that in like hundreds of gears I've crafted. So definitely, yes, you can get to 5, but most of the time you'll see 4. Health, I believe, see, this is why the Epic 7 wiki is nice. The health max can be 8. It's 8 for attack, defense, and HP. For effect resistance is 8. For effectiveness is 8. And then for crit damage 7, crit rate 5. So that's kind of nice for that one for a point of reference. So for this one, it's not perfectly rolled. So the health could start at 8, the defense could start at 8, and the effect resistance could start at 9. So yes, it's not a perfect gear, but to get to this point, it's already like, there is so much. You could have started with health at 4. So this is already a really solid piece of equipment. The next part is the roll. So I'm gonna roll it once for you guys for this specific equipment. So I use one, so I'll only get one. So the other thing that can happen is when you're upgrading your gear, you can get a random increase to your substat, and that substat can vary very widely. So for example, health, I can get up to 7 again, or I could get a roll of 4. For speed, I can get a 1, or I can get up to a 4. So this could either be speed plus 8, or health plus 4, or health plus 7. So it's the same thing as a starting. So if it helps you think about it, when you start with a piece of gear, the highest stat that you can get, like starting stat, is basically like another roll, with the exception of like level 88 gear, because level 88 gear has a higher start number than the highest roll number. But let's just upgrade it. So let's see. This is the other part of gear RNG. So when you upgraded, so this was at 7, and it rolled twice into defense. So the first time I rolled, I wish you guys could have seen it just one by one, but the first time that it rolled 7 into defense, and then it rolled a 4 into defense. So it rolled high roll, and then it low rolled. So what does that mean? So that I just use the term low roll and high roll. So low roll means that you got the lowest roll on your substat upgrade. I did not know this when I was starting the game. I thought it was just like always the same thing. I think it's kind of crazy that they actually added that other layer of RNG to equipment, because that means that theoretically, with the exact same level of everything, exact same gear, while you may have rolled this, someone else could have rolled a double 7 and their defense would be at 21%. Does it suck? Yes. Does it make gear unusable? No. Let's take a look. Another example again, just another piece of event gear because again, event gear is amazing. You should always be using it. It's super awesome. Let's use this one. This is from the key segment. So let's use this one. So I'll put this one. Hopefully it's just one. So again, as you guys remember, because it's level 75, the highest start is going to be around 7%. If it was level 85, it could start at 8%. So let's say I roll a ring. Let's just see what we get. Let's see for the first roll. So we didn't low roll, but we only got a 2 speed. That means that we rolled on speed, but we only got 2. This could have been +4, so this could have been at 8 speed. That hurts a lot because 2 speed is the difference between you beating someone or you losing to them. So it's something that you have to understand that RNG is a big factor of gear. And it's something that it's super frustrating because I've had pieces of equipment turn into trash just because of it. So it's something that you do have to understand that can happen to your gear. So just know that there is that much RNG. So even though you can get very unlucky, and some people do get very unlucky back to back, and then they just don't get the right gear. So now let's go to something like my G. Let's do one last one so you guys can see gear RNG in action. I wish I had a level 88 piece of equipment for you guys. I really do. Man, I don't think I have any level 88 equipment I can show you guys. Just so you guys, oh, there it is. So this one, if y'all see this one, this attack started at 9%. So it's a level 88 gear, so the starting roll is a lot higher, but also the roll, when I roll on it, I can also roll, I believe I can roll up to like a 7 or 8%. So let's just try it. Let's see what we roll. So you guys can see, hopefully a high roll. So health, man, I already forgot what it was on. I'm gonna have to do another one because I already forgot what the roll was on. So 9, 6, 8, 12, 9, 6, 8, 12. So y'all see how different that was? It went from 12 to 21. And before, I think it went from like 7 to 11, which is like nothing. But now this is a really good piece of gear. So it may have started looking really bad because we low rolled, but you might get a high roll right after it. And like, look at this. I'm not even at plus 15 yet, and it already has this much stuff set. So that's enough about that. I don't want to get caught up on roll RNG, but just know that roll RNG is a thing. Start RNG is a thing. Like, let's look at a piece of regular equipment that I have that didn't start at a, like for this one, look, it started the lowest crit hit chance, it started at 3. The highest you can see is 5, as we saw by the table. So gear RNG is a big factor. So now let's go to the other major part of gear that probably I'm going to be spending the most time talking about, and that is going to be reforging and how reforging has completely changed how people look at gear. So let me just show you reforging first, and then I'll show you how it completely changed the game. So when you go to Reforge, and you guys know this is Wyvern 13, this is why everyone will tell you making your PvE teams is so important. Like, you'll see how much materials I have. I just don't have the gear to use it on that I really want to use it on. This one actually would be a really good example. So this Reforge it just makes it so anything that's not level 85, you already are putting yourself at a disadvantage. So if you have a piece of gear that you have and it's not level 85, you do not have access to reforging. Why is that important? If we look at a 85 piece of equipment, normally this is already an amazing, like super busted piece of equipment. But before an epic grade or lower, like let's say even like a level 70, could have these same substats or very close to if you get a lot of high rolls, right? But the way that reforging works is it makes gear RNG go to the next level. So if you guys saw that speed RNG is a thing. So the biggest thing with reforging, the way that it works, and something that you really have to put in your head, is that it doesn't matter how many times you roll into the stat, it's how high the stat already is that will determine how much higher that stat can go. So for this piece of gear, it started at speed +4. It rolled one time into speed. The rest all went into crit damage. And that one time it rolled into speed, it only gives me 1 speed. But why? It should be giving me maybe even 2 because it already was like a 4, right? But the way it works, it's for speed. You have to pass I believe it's a 7 threshold. Once you get past 6 speed, if I had rolled a 7, this would be going from 7 to 9. But instead it's going from 6 to 7. I could be wrong on that. Someone fact check me, please. But I think it's once you get past 7 for speed, you start getting the +2 roll. And that just literally, it's just I got unlucky. Because it didn't register as a proper roll. It didn't register it as going to the next level. So even though I wasted a roll on it to go from speed 4 to speed 6, if I had gone from speed 4 to speed 7, this piece of gear could have been a piece of gear that is 9 speed. That's 2 speed, and you guys are like, oh, 2 speed, that's nothing. Yo, 2 speed is such a big difference in PvP. 2 speed can completely change the game. And then when you look at things like crit damage, this all rolled into crit damage, and it all rolled well. So already, it was at 34%. But because of reforging, this piece of gear, because I rolled well, it only makes my gear even better. It goes from 34 to 40. Yo, that's 6%. Holy moly. This is like, I can't. It's just nuts. And not all my gears like that, but it is a big difference. It literally makes or breaks some characters. And now the thing that I know a lot of you are going to ask and are going to feel very frustrated with is all my gear like that? No. If you guys look at all my gear, like a lot of it is not worth reforging. A lot of it is okay. A lot of it is not like godlike. So don't get frustrated. You can still get very high even without having the best gear. But so reforging. So why has this made such a big divide? So reforging, the biggest thing, and I honestly think the worst thing, is that there is no way to upgrade level 70 gear to level 85 gear. So now, if you guys look at my inventory, I used to have a lot of level 70 gear. A lot of level 70 gear. But if I look now, I only have like, y'all see the event equips, that I'm still +15, and I still use it in a lot of my units. And I still have some level 71, but like this one, I'm probably gonna like feed this one. Like this one's already junk. Because compared to level 70, this is nothing. But there is some gear that's still very usable. Case in point, this one. So while it's made level 85 gear be almost must have, like if I look through here, almost everything's level 85. That does not mean your level 70, 75 gear is useless. Your level 65, level 67. Like if I look at this one, like look at that. 27% HP. Yes, I could get a chest that rolled the exact same way and it was level 85. I'd be getting more defense and I would be getting way more health if I reforged it, probably like 7% more. But what are the chances of me getting that? So that's going to bring me to my next point of gear. Not all gear is useless, but there is a lot of useless gear. So what do I mean by that? If I look through most of the gear that I have on all of my different pieces, the only pieces of equipment that I have kept that are not level 85 or higher, because there's level 88, if I do that, the only pieces of gear I've kept are level 70 and above or level 67 with good substats. Like if you look at this, it's gonna take me a long time to find a helmet that has immunity, an immunity piece of helmet with that much effectiveness. And I've kept that because, especially for the left side, the main stat is not as important as the right side. And also, not all your units have to be on level 90, 85 gear. So as I said again, as I said in the beginning, event equipment is your best friend because it has such amazing substats, especially for the left side, that it doesn't matter that someone else has level 85 gear. It's going to be very hard for them to have a piece of equipment that has these nice of starting rolls. And a lot of my, like look at this. This, even though it's legendary 85, I can reforge it in the future. It's not going to be as good as like a good solid helmet like this helmet. Oh, not this helmet. This helmet's actually not that great. This helmet has 23% attack and 10 speed. So again, I'm not trying to scare you guys and not tell you, but one tip I will give you from this section, like the main caveat I want you to take away from reforging is that if you're a beginner player, the only gear I want to see is level 70. 67 is fine if it's event gear. Like this one is still fine. But if it's lower than 60, 65, like look at this. If it's lower than that, it better have some really good substats. Like you better be like this one, it's not on anyone and it's unlocked because I'm going to feed it. And this was before reforged, so that's why it's there. This one was before Reforge. A lot of these were before Reforge. I just haven't got around. But this one is still pretty solid. I haven't found anything with this high of speed. So I'm not trying to scare you guys, but anything lower than level 60, you guys need to trash. It sucks for me to tell you that, but even as early game players, with all the free equipment that they give you, there is no reason you should be keeping around level 60 gear unless it's to really round out a unit. So for example, this effectiveness on my Rose, I don't necessarily need it, but you know, it builds a roll. I don't have to reforge this. It does the job for me. So it's okay to still have level 70 gear. So this is going to bring me to my next and final point about gear and just the next big tip about gear. So level 60 and below, you should probably trash unless it has godlike substat, or if you're trying to just finish a set for when a unit is built. And that is going to bring me to my next point of gear overall. You don't have to have godlike gear on every single unit. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't remember. They feel like if they look at my account and they just saw my Kayron, they would think, oh, that's a whale. There's no way I can ever get to his level. Like, look at his Kayron. That's broken. That's godlike. He probably cleared all the event because of like this amazing gear. Is that true to an extent? Yes. But if I look through the rest of my units, they don't all have gear like my Kayron. My Kayron is just good because I invested so heavily. I invested 1 year of gear into him, but I still need other content. So that brings me to Tamarine. Tamarine, I use her everywhere. I use her in Golem, I use her in Asimekon, I use her in Abyss, I use her in Labby. I've gotten all the way to Abyss stage 99, 100 with this Tamarine. I have not upgraded her gear at all. Is it coming time for me to upgrade her gear? Yes, because I can't clear Asimekon 13 because I need to have a better Tamarine. But I've been able to get to this point. And do y'all see this? Do y'all see something weird with this Tamarine? Does she look like my Kayron? No. Do I use her any less than my Kayron? No. My Tamarine probably gets more play than my Kayron. And let's look at it. This level 70 gear rolled amazing substats. And I kept it because Tamarine, does she need the attack? No. But you know what she does need? She needs health percentage. How many pieces of gear are you going to roll that are going to have a good health percentage substat roll? I don't know, which is why level 70 gear is still okay to use, especially when it comes to healers, tanks, and units you use for PvE. Because for PvE, you just need to meet certain gear requirements. You just need to make sure you hit the stats. It doesn't matter if your gear is lower. Like this is all event equipped with the exception of this helmet. And this helmet with this 85, which has the potential to be reforged. Am I going to reforge this? No, I am not going to reforge this because it's low rolled all across the board. Like if you guys see speed at 9, that three rolls of speed went into that. 1 into HP, 1 into defense. It's trash. It's a trash piece of gear. But it still serves the purpose I need it to. And I'm still able to use my Tamarine in a pretty high level. And then you guys see here, again, really good defense substat. And it has speed. So your gear doesn't have to be reforged on all your units. But it has to be, like, even look at the Karen. Like, the Karen is kind of nice on these two pieces of equipment because I needed effectiveness. But overall, like, it's nothing super crazy. Like, most of the gear I use, even my C-set, I'm not using level reforged gear. My Dizzy, who I take to Champion Arena all the time, doesn't even have, like, any reforged equipment. Does she perform the job I need her to? Perfectly. I'm still able to beat so many teams with her. But the biggest unit that needs to have reforged are your DPS. So Kayron, all reforged gear. My Spectre Tenebria, all reforged gear. All reforged gear because I need her to be doing damage. My Assassin Kali, who I use everywhere, all reforged gear with the exception of the blue gear, which I wanted to talk about real quick. Blue gear, you should never reforge. It's something that, I know it sucks, but reforged materials, you have to treat like one piece of reforged equipment is probably equivalent to $20 because it takes $20 is what gets you enough leaves to run Wyvern enough to get a reforge. So do not use it on blue. Don't use it on blue. That's all I gotta tell you. Like, this is a decent set, but look how low it is compared to something like this. Like, it's so much. Actually, this is kind of trashy too. But yeah. So this, like, look at that. It's so much lower stat just because it's a blue gear. So it kind of sucks. But the only units that have to have reforged gear, again, sorry I got sidetracked right there. the only units that need to have reforged gear are going to be your DPS units. And also your tanks or your bruisers that you're using a lot. So only the bruisers, people doing damage, your tank like Craw definitely could use reforged gear. Does he need it? No, they can wait. A lot of these units can wait. A lot of my tanks are waiting because it's like, I don't need to. But my bruisers, the units I use a lot, they need to. So last point for the gear equipment guide, and I don't want to make this any longer than it has to be. That is going to be, examples of some gear that I reforged that I regret. So that's the last point I want to talk about. Some reforged materials, because as I mentioned, reforged materials are scarce. They are not something you can just throw around. I hadn't played a lot of Epic 7 in the past 7 months until very recently. As you guys saw, my YouTube channel, I started uppicking it again when I started playing a lot more Epic 7. So I had a lot of leaves, and that's how I have so much reforged gear. But there are some regrets I have. One of them is actually on my Charon, and that is going to be the necklace. So I told you guys, I showed you guys with the rolls, how important good rolls are, how much RNG there is. And when you're reforging gear, some examples to look at. This piece of necklace, if you have something similar, I will tell you, do not reforge it. Please do not reforge it. Yes, I didn't, but that's because I was greedy. I had a billion materials, but I didn't realize I was running out of leaves so fast. And now I'm kind of lacking in that. And right now, this piece kind of wasted because, yeah, it adds 11 speed. It's cool, but this could be so much more. So that's the big thing. Even like some level 80 gear is better than this. I could probably find a level 80 gear that's better than this piece. And I just wasted 200 crafting materials. So what do you want to look for when you are reforging? You want to look for something like, honestly, my Charles is the best example. This is something you want to look for reforging. You want to look at a maximized stat. So crit damage, that is maximized. That is not something you can get easily. This is the type of equipment you want to reforge. You want to reforge things that are like super high in one stat or really solid all stat wise. And that's the piece of equipment that I have on my Charon's boots, because I need crit rate, I need crit damage, and I need attack, and they all roll decent. So it was really nice when I reforged this. I was able to get all of those stats to a higher level, +2, +3, and it just helped so much. Another piece would be for my Assassin Collie. Big piece that I used was this one. Look at the attack. It was mostly going into attack. One rolled into health, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever. It's life. But the attack was high enough that I was getting 7% from reforging. Like 5-6%, not 7. 5-6% from reforging. These are the types of things you want to reforge, you want to use your resources on. And yeah, last but not least, the chest. Y'all see here, speed and crit rate optimized. This is why I reforged this, because it was optimizing my speed and crit rate. I personally have terrible roll with speed, which is why I still reforge this, even though some people are like, oh, that's not too good. But chests are usually the places where you see the highest speeds or the highest of one stat. Again, for this one, I can't upgrade it, but it has the highest speed because that's the place where I can find all the crit rate. For my Charon, honestly not the best, but it has crit damage and speed. So I'm making sure I'm optimizing that. I'm making sure I'm getting the stats that I really need on that unit there. So for Charles, the crit rate, I knew I was like, okay, I don't need health. I need health and I need crit chance. I know this can't get attacked, so I can just optimize just on this. So, man, I feel like I'm rambling near the end, y'all. But that is all I have for you guys today. I know this was a long video. I hope it helps you guys, especially for reforging. I didn't check the timestamp, so I'm very sorry about that. But let me just summarize the whole video. So if you're just coming in, 29 minutes, you just want to hear the overall spiel on it. Gear RNG is a thing. Roll RNG, again, is a thing. Reforging makes it so anything under level 70 you should throw out, and you really need to prioritize getting level 85 gear or level 70 gear that has really good substats for your tanks, for your healers, for your PvE units. For your PvP units that you're trying to use competitively, you need to have fully reforged level 85 gear. So that is going to be a requirement if you want to be able to climb. And then last but not least, only reforged materials. Only use reforged materials. Pretend it's like $20-$30 because that's how much energy it takes, is $20-$30 worth of energy. for you to get one recrafting piece of equipment. So that's how scarce. So like for example, for that Charon, don't waste it on a necklace like that. Like that necklace is kind of trashy. I should just wait far more before I put that on him. Maybe use a different sub. Maybe don't try to go for a speed Charon. Just try to go for a slow Charon. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys today, and I will see you next time. Peace.